Good evening, everyone. Thanks for being here. We'd like to call the regular meeting of the City Council of the City of Marysville to order today, Tuesday, November 19th, 6 p.m. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Betta-Cavoli.
Here.
Councilmember Harris.
I'm sorry, who?
Hudson,
Harris.
I'm so sorry.
That's quite all right, you know.
We used to have a Harris.
Hudson's a mayor. Yeah.
Councilmember Hudson.
Here.
Councilmember Simmons.
Here.
Vice Mayor McKenzie.
Here.
And Mayor Samayoa.
Here. At this time, I'd like to invite everyone to please stand. Join me on the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. I'd like to ask our city manager if there are any changes to the agenda.
There are no there is one change, actually, that the city clerk would like to apprise us of.
Just notice that item 8 on tonight's agenda has been continued to the December 3rd meeting.
Thank you. With that, I'd like to entertain we don't need a motion to approve. Any closed session reports? None. There's two presentations. The first one is introduction of a new Public Works Director. Marty?
Thank you. At this time, it gives me great pleasure to introduce to the council and the public the city's new Public Works Director, Craig Platt. Craig comes to us from most recently working for the City of California City for the last 5 years down in Kern County, and not far from Arvin, by the way, and where I came from before. And prior to that, for about 11 to 12 years, he worked for the City of Susanville as a Public Works Director, as well as a few years before that as the Natural Gas Superintendent for the City of Susanville. And before that, he was with the Arizona Pipeline Company. He is originally from Apple Valley, and he enjoys outdoor fishing, hiking, and IT systems. Interesting hobby.
Yeah.
So, welcome.
Well, hiking and fishing, you got it all around you. Absolutely. Yeah, there you go. Well, welcome, sir, and good luck.
Yes.
Now, Vice Mayor would like to introduce our next presentation.
Yes, I am introducing Mr. Virgil Atkinson with Just Serve organization, and I heard about Just Serve through our association with the Yuba Sutter Community Task Force, which I'm hoping to bring to the council to describe that at some point. But we've been working together and talking about different volunteer opportunities in the community, and they have a website that Virgil is the administrator of in our area, where you can, if you're an organization that has an opportunity, a project that you need volunteers for, you can put your project up on that website, and people who are interested in serving and know about that website can check in there to find things in their local community where they can be part of that. So, and I know Yuba City has listed some things on the website as well, some different projects, so I thought it might be great for us to hear some of those things, since I was hoping that we could connect some volunteers to projects in the city, you know, over in the course of time we might find something. And so anyway, I thought this might be helpful information for us for that. So Virgil Atkinson.
Thank you. I appreciate the time to be able to spend with you and briefly and talk about justserve.org. I would like to begin by showing a very brief video about justserve.org.
Questions from the community, from faith-based organizations, is how do we give back to the community? How can we get involved? The Just Serve program has basically allowed us to give volunteers a direction.
It allows you to go in, find something that fits your personality, your family.
If I could sit down with another council member in another city that was either looking at this or had talked about it, I think what I would say to them and what I have said to them is that this is one of those types of programs that will, again, help your city to be a success.
I just love volunteering here because it kind of takes me out of myself and puts me into the community, and it just makes me feel like I'm making a difference.
So I have lived in this community all of my life, and I have gotten to know a number of community nonprofit organizations. That's a small list of all of the ones that I know personally. And so it makes the responsibility that I have to connect their needs with volunteers much easier. I also have connected with a number of large businesses to see if I can get them to have their employees sign up for Just Serve. It's a lot easier when SunSuite signs up 500 people and the hospital signs up much more than that. We would like to bring in Beale Air Force Base. We want the cities, we want the counties and everybody to sign up as a volunteer, in addition to looking for projects that we need volunteers for in the community. So if churches and clubs and organizations and cities and counties will all do that, it'll be a lot easier for these organizations that are trying to put on an event and are lacking the volunteers that they need. I've given each of you a handout, and this is going to go out all over the community to help people better understand what justserve.org is, but it would be so much easier if we just went to the website. By going to the website, you'll find, and I tried to get that set up on here, it may or may not happen, but if you just go to the website, justserve.org, the first thing it's going to do is ask you to put in your zip code. And if you put in your zip code of wherever you're at in the United States or France or England or some other Spanish-speaking countries, you can put in where you're at and it'll pop up some opportunities to serve there. You can also select the distance you're willing to travel, 5 miles up to 75 miles, and it will give you more and more opportunities. So if you wanted to go to Gridley or Woodland or Wheatland to serve, there's other opportunities outside of that area. If you go on the website right now and you look up, you'll see a couple of them that I would particularly like to highlight. There's Freed, which is an organization to help seniors with their basic needs. There's a community organization, a community task force, which has an event on December 13th, and that is on that site. Also, it's a chance for all of the community organizations to come together in one place at the 530 Center on December 13th at 6 o'clock, and to be able to have volunteers come and to see what their opportunities are to serve. I think it's a great opportunity for us to come together and do that. Another foundation that's very involved in our community is called the 4G Foundation. The person that runs that is Jerry Handy. And between him and A Slice of Respect, which is Jim King from New Earth Market, his pizza place there, those two individuals probably attract the most number of people, with maybe one exception. There's a guy named Jeff. And if you've heard of Stephen's Farmhouse, well, Jeff is a part of that with his wife. And he started an organization called Saleh, which he would like to talk more about. But between 3 to 5 different organizations in our community, there is some key opportunities there to serve. And I would hope that you would get to know many of these different organizations and find ways that you can be involved as citizens in the community, as leaders in the community, and also if you could help businesses and employees of the city get involved in that too. It's a great program. It's free. It doesn't cost anything to register. It doesn't cost anything to put in your projects. And I think it's a great way to bring these two together. As I've gone around the community and presented this to different community organizations, I'm getting some very positive comments from people in the community. Is there any questions or comments about justserve.org?
Okay, so to answer if you're a nonprofit and you want to participate, you just enter the information or you fill out an application or something?
Yes, you fill it out on the website.
Yeah.
And it will actually post. Each project does require that it be cleared by someone, that's me, until such time as we're comfortable with what the person is posting. The only restriction is that the people that come from Just Serve, the people that volunteer, are not allowed to handle money in any way. They can come and help for some type of a fundraising event by preparing pizza or helping to serve or clean up or whatever, but they're not to handle money. And you can see the wisdom that if there was ever a problem about money, it would never involve somebody from Just Serve, because they're not to handle money in any way.
I think I can tell you that that guy's brain's probably like 4th of July, big event for us. I know that it was huge. It was pretty important to get volunteers to participate, and I know that they're thinking about making it a larger event, and that'd be a great opportunity to, the cities and the counties are getting together to do that event, and getting that set of volunteers will be great. That's just one opportunity, I think, for the city.
Our goal would be to have 5,000 to 10,000 volunteers in our combined communities. That would include Beale Air Force Base, who has a large responsibility to do community service. So if we can get this huge pool of people, because each of us have different interests. You might be interested in this or that, helping with the REST program, driving people and doing whatever, and someone else might have a different interest. And if we can just find our talents and our interests and focus on the things that we would like to do. Right now there's probably 20 or 30 projects posted on the website locally.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to see that go to 50 or 100, and we can easily do that if we just all get involved in Just Serve.
Is this a national group?
It's actually international. It's just a website.
International?
But
Okay.
it's currently only in 3 languages: French, Spanish, and English.
Through the chair,
Yes, sir.
I understand that you're a collection agency, so to speak, to bring all these nonprofits together. So you
Yeah.
actually don't provide any services other than coordinating these activities?
Other than attend every opportunity
Yeah, but
to
I'm
serve that
talking
I
about
can.
your function.
My function is to bring the two together.
That's what I thought. So if a nonprofit wants to participate, they would contact you?
Yes. They can actually just go on the website and enter their
Well,
project,
that's what
enter
I
their
mean.
needs.
You being the figure of the
Yeah,
organization.
but if they want to contact me personally, my cell phone number and email is on that flyer, and it will be everywhere.
Well, I commend you for this, because the fact is, we do have a lot of nonprofits that serve that community of our city and other cities, but they're fragmented, just like the Elks Lodge. They use a Christmas dinner and a Thanksgiving Day dinner, home delivery. It's all volunteers, so there's not a central point where I, as a person, need a volunteer to help do something. I can call and say, I need 5 volunteers to help me do something today.
Right.
That's your function, is it not, to contact me?
Right, you post on the site your needs and when and all the details. If you're doing a Say Love cleanup project, bring your gloves, bring your wheelbarrows, bring whatever. Those types of things should be posted on there.
Good, outstanding. It's about time this happened. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have something to do with this?
I have a little question. So is there any kind of notice that goes out to people who are signed up to volunteer? Is there a way for them to know if there's a new opportunity? For example, if they've said they want to do yard work or something like that,
It won't let you know if there's a current project, but if a new project is posted, it will let you know. The current ones, some are immediate, like they end this Saturday. There's a big project on there for this Saturday. It ends Saturday, then it's gone off the website. But it's a project that lasts longer than that, like needing people for freed or needing people for the REST program to house people for the wintertime. Those stay on pretty much year-round. And so those will stay, but if something's new coming up in the next month or whatever, if you register, then you'll get an email letting you know about something new, but it won't go give you a whole bunch of emails about the older projects. You can just go on the site and find those.
and look at it. So your mission really is to let people know about the website, because that's
Yes.
that's the whole point of contact
Yes.
for everyone, right?
The website does not function if it just has a bunch of projects.
Right.
It doesn't function if there's just a bunch of volunteers. It has to bring the two together, or it really doesn't function for our needs in helping the people of our community.
Well, I think there's several things I think I was thinking of. One in particular, I know we have our cemetery commission has a volunteer opportunity every month, and that might be one thing that the city could put on there, possibly. So-
There are some on there right now for people to volunteer to take pictures so that they can be placed on a genealogical site, so that instead of going and just finding names for your ancestors somewhere in the country, they're going all over the country taking pictures of the headstone so you can actually see instead of just hear about it or read the name or whatever. So there's a number of those types of volunteer
Interesting.
things going on.
Well, great, I'm signing up right now. Just look forward to participating.
They're not gonna mow your yard, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. I appreciate
I know
the
that,
opportunity.
I think the city can really take advantage of just our parades, our events, our public events. I know we want to do a lot in downtown, even during the Christmas time, you know, trying to get some carolers or getting people, young people to volunteer and kind of, you know, we have the tree lighting on the 6th. And, I don't know, just, and it's gonna be every year, right? With all the parades and everything that happens on an annual basis and stuff. And I know, like the Buckeye Festival, I imagine that the Buckeye folks were always looking for volunteers or whatever that may look like for street closures and all that thing, so.
Whatever it is, just have them get a hold of me or post it and I'll help them. All right? Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. I just wanted to give a couple of examples of things I saw for Yuba City, and you might be looking at it. They had one opportunity for people who had experience with sprinkler systems, if they would adopt a park and just check to see if sprinklers were out and were willing to help with repair under the supervision of the director, I'm sure, but even adopt a park cleanup and things like that. So I think there's might be some things we could talk about that might be possible for us.
It's just a presentation, sir, but what's your question? Sure, what's your question?
Okay, what I don't understand is, okay, back in history, okay, we have collaborative owners and, you know, people that stake their claims and so on. What's going on with that right now? Basically, I mean, we got homeless here, that people that have no heart in the world, none that are trying to struggle, and trying to get out to make a living, and so on, and what's going on with that? I mean, I see Gallus and Newsom, he's something else, because
Sir, we're not talking about your topic right now. We're talking about their presentation. So if you have questions about their presentation, you want to get a hold of them about the work that they're doing, you guys can connect right there.
okay,
Thank you.
I just don't understand the reason why, you know.
Okay, sir, but we're not talking about that. We need to continue with the meeting. Thank you, sir. Did you want to make a presentation, Say Love, sir? Sure. Okay. You're doing amazing stuff out there, by the way, so.
Thank you, Council. My name is Jeff Stevens. I'm a citizen of Sutter County, but this last year I've been working both in Sutter and Yuba counties, just trying to do some cleanup and bring the communities together to do projects to make both counties a little bit cleaner and just better. One of the things I'd like to do is encourage you guys as leaders to come out and be seen by the citizens, because I think that helps get the citizens out to our events. We have anywhere from, on a low month, 50 to up to 120 volunteers per month. We've done things like put out flags on Memorial Day. We've cleaned up the community parks in Marysville. We've done Ellis Lake in Marysville. We've done the river bottoms. We take garbage bags out to the homeless in the river bottoms, and then we go in and clean up areas. We've assisted code enforcement of issues that they can't handle or don't want to handle, and that we can provide help to them. So I would just like to encourage anyone that would like to come out and participate. We'd love to see the leaders of our communities out working with us and supporting us.
Jeff, are you doing a specific once a week, once a month?
Once a month. It's always the last Saturday of the month.
Okay.
Except I'm looking at December as possibly varying for that for the first time. And it's going to be a little bit different, but that will probably be my only one that I will vary
Aside from that, the last
Yeah,
Saturday of each
the
month.
Yeah, and we leave from 600 George Washington Boulevard, which is the Hope Point Nazarene Church parking lot. And then each month, a sponsor sponsors us, like Farm Bureau. We've had sponsor us, Yuba Water Agency, Recology. Last month it was Feather River Bank. So each month we have a sponsor, and they provide lunch for us. So there's always a lunch involved. Everybody gets a free T-shirt, and it's hopefully just a fun day of all our community members coming together and doing something good for our community. So that's the whole purpose behind it, and I'm here to support. I forget his name. So anyway, Virgil, that's it. So no, that's what it's all about, and I've been wanting to come speak to you, and Virgil has given me the opportunity. I've spoken to Sutter County, and I've spoken to the city of Yuba City. I got after them pretty good last week or the week before about just coming out, so I won't burden you guys with what I told them, but I got after them anyway. But I'd love to see all our leaders come out and support the project and just keep it growing. You know, if we can, I keep thinking this area is about 100,000 people, and I know there's soccer games and there's baseball games and there's all kinds of things that go on in this community, and I'm busy too. But if we can just get a small percentage of our population coming out each month for 4 hours, we've done a lot. We've cleaned up a lot down Feather River Boulevard. You know, we've gotten into some real messes, and we've cleaned it up out by the golf course. You know, past the golf course, there was a ravine that had just tons and tons of garbage in. We've hauled out over 300,000 pounds of garbage.
And Recology has been very good about accepting.
They've been exceptional. Well, there's no cost to it. Whatever we bring in, if we have our yellow Say Love shirts on, and
so when I clear my garage, I'll just wear that?
No, that won't work. No, but this community has, I cannot tell you how well this community has supported Say Love. I went and talked to the Rotary Club. We now have, Rotary has purchased Say Love a trailer, so we can go out and pick up garbage at any time, and it's going to have Say Love on it, and sponsored by Rotary, and you know, so, and there's other larger things coming down the pike for Say Love because of what it's doing to the community. I've been in touch with other businesses and corporations that want to become more involved in what Say Love is doing, you know, so there's going to be other good things coming down, but that was a real big one when Rotary bought my trailer for me. So anyway, it's been very good.
Thank you for your work.
Through the chair real quick?
Yes, sir.
So do you guys got like a project list? You got a website? You got something kind of what your next project is for that following Saturday?
Well, most of the time how it works is I go out and do reconnaissance.
Sure.
And I'll go out and spot the garbage, and if there's any illegal dumping going on, I know where the hot spots are, so I go out and look. John Nicoletti is heavily involved, and he has a lot of Habitat for Humanity projects, so he helps me, and I have no idea how many people are going to show up for each event, if it's going to be 40 or 140. So I just have several areas that I know are bad, like, you know, I know I can always send people out Feather River Boulevard. I know I can always send people out Live Oak Highway. You know, just certain areas I know that are always bad. So depending on what my numbers are, I have a list before each event of where I think it's, and then different agencies and counties get in touch with me and says, you know, can you help me here, or can you help me there? And I've had several of those phone calls. So it's just helping the community.
It's awesome. Thank you.
So, all right, thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it. Any further questions? Seeing none, we'll move to Community and Consent Calendar Forum. Individuals wishing to address the City Council concerning consent calendar items or on matters not already in the agenda are invited to make oral comments of up to 3 minutes. We ask you to please fill out
a speaker's card, which you will find by our city clerk. Raise your hand. And when you're called, we ask you to please go to the podium and give your name clearly for audio recording. We request you address your comments to the council and not to the audience. By state law, we let you know that the council is not permitted to undertake any action or discussion on any items not appearing on the posted agenda. Members of the public like to comment on consent calendar areas or other things not on the agenda?
Yes, Mayor, first we'll be hearing from Laura Clausen-Ferry, then Raylene Butcher and Brian Brown.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Laura Clausen-Ferry. I am with California Rural Legal Assistance. I am here tonight and I'm going to be very brief. We at CRLA represent clients with regard to the anti-camping ordinance. We believe that the ordinance violates the law because it appears to effectively prohibit being homeless within the city limits, given the fact that there does not appear to be anywhere you can actually...
Excuse me, ma'am. Through
Yes?
the chair, that's an agendized item.
Well, it's on the consent
So it's on
calendar,
the-
so she's allowed to speak on the
This comment's
consent.
not on the agenda, and that's a consent item. So
No,
that's
sir.
on the agenda. Okay,
It-
you're
it's-
the ruler, but
No, I stated any items on the consent calendar or not on the agenda.
you're running the meeting, but I think that should be covered on the item pulled off the consent, which you can do, and then
Well,
discuss it.
We
But
just
it-
won't have any discussion, but they can make their comments, sir.
That's all right with me.
Sorry, ma'am. Go ahead.
Excuse me for interrupting.
I'm happy to comment later. It really doesn't matter.
Oh, this is the time for you to comment.
Okay,
Thank you. Yes.
okay.
It's out of line.
Okay, no. So 2 points. I will go back and summarize, be super quick. We do believe that the ordinance violates the law because we don't understand that there's anywhere where folks can be outside, given the lack of shelter beds and given the phraseology of the ordinance. Second, even if there is a piece of land that does not fall within the definitions of places that is prohibited, we believe that the ordinance violates state and federal disability discrimination law because folks who are physically disabled are not going to be able to erect a tent half an hour after darkness and take it down every morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it.
Raylene Butcher.
Hello, my name is Raylene Butcher, and I'm an advocate for the homeless here in town. And today I went downtown in Marysville on G Street, and I made a little survey of like 4 questions, and I asked the citizens of Marysville. And one of the questions that I really asked was how they felt about the ordinance. A few didn't even know what the ordinance was. They just did not know until I explained it to them, and a lot of their answers was that it's the same method that was used before, and it's not going to work now. It didn't work then, it's not going to work now. And this is coming from the citizens of town. Okay, I was going to do a further little thing, but I didn't really have time. But my opinion on it is when you made the ordinance, maybe you should have talked with us and not without us, and we could have got a little further. I could have worked with my people a lot better, because you all know what I do with them every day. Another question that I asked was if they had any suggestions or ideas for where these people are going to go. That a lot of them asked and said about the empty buildings that you possibly might own, even property outside of town, to make like a little community type thing. Myself, I've been working with the fire victims, so I've really been working hard with that, and we have came up with a great idea, which I would like to maybe talk with you about that at a later time. And I think it's going to work. I know it's going to work because the backers, and I've got council in Butte County, they're ready to roll with it. And it's just, I've been working really hard with everybody. I've been trying to come up with my own ideas, but I'm very sick, so I have to really limit myself on what I do. But I've been always there to work with all of you for them, and not very many of you have really let me come back in the doors, so I'm sure it's because of the lawsuit and whatnot, but, you know, I would really like to make a time to come and have a one-on-one with you guys and give you the opportunity to hear what we're doing in Butte County, and maybe we can work on something like that here, because I believe that it is the solution to our problem. Because you can't really expect these people to just leave the town, or, you know, they're all asking me, and I mean, I'm busy with that question, is where they're gonna go. Where are they gonna go? I thank you very much, and I hope we can possibly work something out. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Brian Brown. I'm Executive Officer of the Homeless Union in Tri-Valleys County, Butte, Sutter, and Yuba. No way. Do you know exactly how many people that you're going to displace by this ordinance? Do you know exactly how many? I know it's only words until you act upon it, but then as soon as you act upon it, push the first person out, do you know what you did then? Do you want to know what you did? You have violated the law. The decision Martin versus Boise, Idaho. You can go into litigation with that. You can go into way litigation with that. Now, to maneuver it around an ordinance is one thing, but just to blatantly go against a court order, well, we all know what a court order is. The ordinance that not only violates the Constitution, the 8th Amendment, cruel and unusual, but it profiles, your ordinance profiles them, which is illegal also. I don't know if you're aware of that. I mean, I'm sure your attorney probably should know that. The reassessment of your ordinances, we would ask two things to keep in mind. Make sure that you do not violate the same laws that you are protected by. That's really not a good thing to do. Expect to be protected by something that you're violating? That doesn't seem to be right by any choice. And have you ever seen the zones and the people where they're at? Have you ever seen the jungle, any of you? Have you ever been down there to see sleep zone 1 or 2? Okay, you have? Okay, good. That's good. I see one. The Horseshoe, Hollywood, these are properties owned by you that people are getting displaced in the next couple days. Roughly 40, 50, 60 people. They'll be out right there in the sidewalk with no place to go. They call people like this habitual, serial, civil and human right violators. That means that they do it repetitively, is what that means. And repetitive means after you think you gain momentum and you think you get a little stronger, a little smarter, a little more compassionate towards human beings as yourself. Well, I can't see that. I don't see that at all in any of you. I gave you really a lot of credit to begin with. They said, watch it, Brian. I said, well, hey, I got to give them a lot of credit. I give her a little bit of credit because she stands strong. She stands strong not because of her religion, but just because I think that's who she is, and not ran over by time or what things she doesn't know or what things that are applied. But for one thing, your attorney should really advise you guys a little bit better, in my opinion, because you guys are ripe for another lawsuit, and I'm telling you that for a fact, whether you realize it or not. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Do we have any other speakers?
Not at this time.
Seeing none, let's move to the consent calendar. All matters on the consent calendar are considered to be routine and therefore approved by one motion unless any of the members, council members, or city manager first requests that a matter be removed from the consent agenda for separate discussion and action. What's the will of the council? I entertain a motion to approve the matters on the consent calendar. Is there a motion? Motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion is approved with a vote of 5-0. Let's move to discussion calendar. All matters in the section of the agenda are discussed and will be acted on individually. Members of the public may request to speak on any of these items for up to 3 minutes, and we ask you to please complete a speaker's card and submit it to the city clerk. We have one item, item 6, quarterly investment report for quarterly ending September 30th, 2019. Recommendations to receive and file the quarterly investment report for the quarter ending September 30th, 2019 per city Marysville investment policy. Director Tusinski. try.
Stoczynski, it's all good.
Okay.
So, good evening,
Sanders.
Mayor and council members. So, this is just our first quarterly investment report per per the investment policy that we passed earlier this year. It was stated that the finance director will be submitting a quarterly report on our investments or the cash that we have for the city. So with this being the first one, it's pretty short because we have nothing to compare it to at this time. So this is covering our first quarter for September 30th, 2019. And again, all of our city investments, they are in compliance with the California Government Code and in compliance with the current investment policy, which includes safety, liquidity, and yield in all the investments that we do. So at this time, we have two sources. We have our checking accounts with Chase Bank. We have a commercial checking account that has just over, as of September 30th, just over 1.8 million, and then a Chase, what we call a payroll checking account, which has 1,100. The reason for that is it's basically like a payroll clearing account. We pay the direct deposits for payroll out of that account, and we just transfer the exact amount back and forth to cover payroll checks, vendors of that such nature, and that's why we don't have a balance in that. The other one that we currently have is our money invested with LAIF, which is a local agency investment fund, and as of September 30th, we had just over 2.3 million. In the future, for these next quarterly reports, what we will have is we will have the current market value, we'll have the last quarter market value, and then I'll tell you what the change is. And then part of my report will also be explaining why we had such changes. Like right now, we did join the county pool. That is not reflected on that because that happened in October. So in the next quarterly report, you will see that broken out further within the treasurer's report, and then I will have an explanation. So if there's large swings of funds, either as a positive or a negative, I'll explain why. If we happen to have a quarter where we haven't gotten our property taxes and we've had several bond payments and you see the balances dropping, we'll have something in writing that explains that. And if it goes up for some reason, it's because we just received all of our property taxes from the county, that will also be reflected. So this way you guys can watch the cash as we're going through. I do want to state that this does not include restricted bond funds from this report. We do have, with our bonds, we do have money in there so in case we don't make payments, but it's restricted and we cannot use that. We can't just pull it out for cash flow. So those will not be included in that at this time. So that just concludes my presentation. In the future, for the next quarter, I will be also doing a presentation so I can explain the differences between the two quarters, but after that, we'll have it on consent for informational purposes only. That concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to entertain a motion. Any questions from the members of the council? Any comments from the public? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to receive and file the quarterly report.
So moved.
Motion, is there a second? Motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion is approved with a vote of 5-0. Now we have a public hearing. All matters on this section of the agenda are formal public hearings and will be acted on individually. Members of the public may request to speak. We'll call you for when we call you for public comments. We ask you to please go to the podium and wait to be recognized, then state your name clearly for audio recording before beginning your comments. Item 7, performance update and closeout documentation for 2015 Community Development Block Grant CDBG funding. The recommendation for staff are, looks like two of them. One is to conduct a public hearing and accept public comments on final expenditures and program performance of the 2015 CDBG totaling $1.8 million, and 2, pass a motion authorizing the submittal of closeout documents to the Department of Housing and Community Development, HDC, and to disencumber any remaining grant dollars. Our Finance Director, Ms.
Stoczynski. So, good evening again, Mayor and council members. So I am bringing this to you because this is a requirement of the Housing and Community Development that we must conduct a public hearing when we close out our CDBG project. So I do want to state that this project the end date was September 30th of last year. So we did close out the project. We did all the appropriate monitoring that we need to. We had CDBG come in. Within the last few months, I received an email from CDBG that mentioned
you still have a closeout process that you have not completed, so please get that done. And one of them was this public hearing. So that's why there was a delay in it, is it was not brought to anybody's attention that it needed to be done, and we got it a year later that this needed to happen. So that is why it is coming at this time. We currently are not sitting on any funds. We don't have any extra funds that have been distributed to the city. This was a reimbursable grant, so we only received funding once we spent it and we submitted for that. So it's not, we don't have money that we're waiting, that we're sitting on to get back to the state. I did want to clarify that. So this is in November, of 2015, in November, we were awarded up to a $1.8 million CDBG grant, which is a community development block program. And we did that for a combination of 3 programs. So $1.5 million was for the 12th and J Street Infrastructure Improvement Project, $250,000 for a code enforcement program, and $50,000 for a community center development study. On top of that, we also had a $345,000 project for improvements within our parks. This was used by the current program income that we have. So as we do have several CDBG loans out there into the community for various projects throughout the years, as they're paid off and as the interest is paid to us, it sits in program income, which is outside of our general fund. It's not something that the city can access for use except for CDBG projects. And so we committed with the start of this project that we would use $345,000 of our program income first before we would ask for submittal of the $1.8 million. So in the $345,000, we worked with three park irrigation projects, one at Yuba Park, Veterans Park, and one at Motor Park. For that, we had spent just under $249,000 for those 3 projects that came out of program income. So beyond that, we had our other 3 projects that we worked on. We had obviously the large one was the 12th and J Street Infrastructure Project, which there we redug up the roads, we increased the drainage that we had there. It used to flood regularly. I found several photos of the any kind of water that we had. It was floating on top. Redid the sewer system, also redid the sidewalks and streets through that area. And then the second program that we did was a code enforcement program. And with that, we have certain tracts within town that qualified, so it wasn't for the entire city of Marysville, it was for small tracts within the city that we did code enforcement for blighted items, for public safety, for other outstanding code enforcement. With that, we were able to hire, it started off as a part-time code enforcement officer that was helping with fire and police with like I said, blight code enforcement issues. And through this grant, after that time, we were able to put that person into a full-time status, which we still currently have as a code enforcement, which started through this CDBG project. And then the third one we had was a community development study, which was $50,000 to receive projects about possibly putting a community center somewhere in town and what that might look like. With that portion, there was 2 people who came and did presentations. That was right around the time when when we were in between finance directors at that time. So I sat in as the part-time person and listened to the presentations, but it never actually went anywhere because at that time we did not have the community development director and we did not have a current finance director. So that was one project that we did not expend any of our funds on, as we didn't have the staffing to do it. Again, we did not receive $50,000 for it. We just could have been reimbursed for up to $50,000 for that project. So this project was finalized. We had to spend all of our funds by September 30th of 2018. And at that time we did, and we've submitted everything to CDBG and were reimbursed the full amount, less the $345,000 that we did have to initially. Program income always comes first. So this is just to let you know that those were the projects that we finished so that we can do the closeout so that we can also work on the next CDB project that we have coming up. And when I say disencumber the funds, again, it's not money that we currently received, it's just money that we had not spent and we have to let the state know. We're not going to be asking for the remainder of that money. We are technically, I think it's 30 or 60 days after the day of the grant closed in September 30th last year. So we would not be able to get those funds, but we still have to tell the state that we are no longer interested in pursuing those active funds. So with that, that closes out my presentation.
Any questions? So is it too late to like go back and pursue those funds? Like the time is closed or?
Correct. The project would have had to been done and invoiced by September 30th. So
Okay.
if we finished a project and the contractor put the date of October 7th, we would not have been able to actually get those funds.
Correct.
So during that time, it was the 12th and J Street project we were finishing up. John Mallon with MHM Engineering was actually the ones on the top of all of our contractors to make sure that they finished the work on that deadline, which they did.
It looks great. I know that just looking at the 530 event place that they've created out there, they really benefited from having those beautiful sidewalks and streets and stuff. So it looks beautiful out there. It's going to be a great use of those investments. So.
In the applications when I was preparing this, I found, like I said, a bunch of photos, and I really had no idea of how bad the streets were broken up in that area and how bad the flooding was. So it was really nice to see that we take a section of the town and really transformed into something instead of it being a problem for us.
And on December 5th, we're going to have a workshop on CDBG.
Correct. December 3rd, we're going to
December
have
3rd,
Adams
thank
and
you.
Ashby come in to start working on our public hearing to find out what the public would like to see coming out of our next CDBG grant.
Is there a
And-
possibility that we can get information on what type of project could be available so we can be just informed on what type of things could be as we speak and get, the information that we can start thinking about? For me, the community center was a big thing. I think we still need a community center, whether it's for seniors or for young people dedicated somewhere in Marysville. I think about, I always think about the bike hub. How do we connect our bike trails throughout our area and create something that centralized? So, again, I'm not sure if those things, I know that there's a whole diverse type of projects available or funding available for CDBG. And I hope it doesn't take us 4 years to get things done. I hope that now that we have full staffing, that we'll be able to deliver on all the projects that we think about and dream about.
So I'll defer that one to Ms. Brown.
We will be bringing that forward, and there will be an initial staff recommendation. We did initially meet with these consultants probably a month or so ago to start popcorning some ideas of what might be
I understand that,
possible.
but I want the council to have an opportunity to also popcorn and provide information.
No, well, that's what I'm
Okay.
saying, is that we were gonna bring that forward as an initial kind of presentation to the council and say, here's what we came up with based on the parameters and needs and things we've heard in the past from the council, and then hear from the council and the public on, getting direction for the actual application. The NOFA hasn't come out, it doesn't come out until after the first of the year.
Okay.
So this is the first of more than one workshop.
Perfect.
Through the chair, is that workshop during the council meeting or prior to the council meeting?
We were gonna explore starting the workshop at about 5 o'clock, a little bit early, because it's a longer workshop to kind of get input from the council and the public, and a little more than just kind of a presentation for 10 minutes and walk away. So we were gonna ask the council if we could start earlier.
I'll be swinging in town when that happens, so.
All right.
You might be in
Good to know.
vacation time.
No, that's the end of it.
That's the end of it. Any other questions? Seeing none, then we have to conduct the public hearing. I'd like to open up the public hearing and accept comments from the public. Any members of the public like to make a comment on this matter? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. You're asking us to entertain a motion authorizing the submittal of closeout documents to the Department of Housing and Community Development, HDC, and to disencumber any remaining grant dollars. Is there a motion?
Make a motion. Oops,
Second.
Whatever.
Motion by Hudson, second by Simmons. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion is approved, the vote of 5-0.
Gotta be fast.
Any committee reports?
Yes, I have a couple.
Okay.
Tomorrow at 9 o'clock, the community, at the CDBG, the ESA will be meeting at the Government Center to talk about the up-and-coming groundwater sustainability plan draft, which is out. And I'll be attending that, and I'm reporting back to City Council as to what our plan. I'm sure no one here has had the opportunity to read that because it's about that thick. But we're in 3 different sections, and it's all management issues, talking about progressive growth, et cetera. And I'll report out next time just exactly where we are in the plan. I think it's an opportunity to making sure that we're still working with the GSAs and, of course, the Water Agency, which is the major GSA. I met with and represented the city last night or yesterday at Highway 70 opening. It was a beautiful piece of highway. One of these days, maybe we'll have something like that through Marysville. That concludes my reports, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Any other committee reports? Mr. Buttercoli would like to report out yesterday's meeting between us and Yuba County Water Agency.
Yeah, I think we are making some headway. As usual, everything takes time. We had a good meeting with Lon Hadamia yesterday, who is, I think, is doing his consulting. The water agency's paying for it, for him to be there as our consultant. He just kind of gave us a brief overview of his thoughts and direction, and we kind of brainstormed a direction. I think we're a little bit different places between the county and the agency and the city, was the feeling I got, at least for myself. But we're kind of working through those bumps to try to get on the same page with everybody.
So we have some action items, including that we're gonna, our next meeting is December, I want to say 19th, the first Monday of that week in December. And we're bringing an expert on municipal lakes coming over and provide his feedback, limnologist. And he did a project similar in LA, somewhere Echo Park, so he's going to provide, and he might be, we'll entertain him as being maybe provide us with a master plan to work on the health of the water.
Also, the agency did approve, and I forgot what amount it was up to, but to go ahead and get the fountain repaired, working. Did they say up to 50,000?
No, they said that they would pay for invoicing to put together the bid package. Once we had a bid package and a cost estimate, I would come back and submit a grant request.
Okay.
Yeah, a request for a grant.
So they seem to be kind of anxious to get the fountain on, or at least Brent Hasty is.
Oh, thank you. Any council correspondence?
Yes, Mayor, the council received a certificate of appreciation from the Lions Club for waiving the fees for the Civil War Days as part of the approved special events fee waiver policy, which was approved by council on May 21st of 2019.
Perfect, thank you. City manager's report.
Just quickly, I know I'm going to say this on the 3rd too, but we have a special holiday shopping night out planned for Friday, December 6th from 5 to 9. It includes the tree lighting at 5:30, carolers. We're trying to get people to come out and enjoy D Street and the surrounding neighborhoods and kick off their shopping season on, Marysville's Main Street. So, and then of course, the Christmas parade is on the 7th. And I'm probably going to say that again on the 3rd, as a reminder.
Be there or be square.
That's right.
Through the chair, I'd like to ask the city manager a question. Where are we with the parks pumps? It's been a year and a half now, and I keep hearing about kicking it down the road because PG&E hasn't got the time to do it. The work order was submitted a year ago for them to do that very thing, to come out, and especially in Gavin Park. I'd like to see that finished before I get off the city council in 13 months. I'm getting a little upset over that, and I'd like to know just exactly what we're doing, other than the fact we're pushing it down the road, waiting for something. Can you answer that question for me?
Sure, I certainly can. EKI, our consultant that's been working on that, has been waiting since, I believe, May for PG&E to set a date and a time to respond to the initial design for the pumps, which we need them to sign off on, including doing an inspection before they can move forward with completing the construction drawings and going out to bid. And we've been badgering them consistently more than once to try to get them to move us up as a priority on the list. So far, it's been unsuccessful, but I can certainly follow up again tomorrow.
Well, I guess also, Marty, if I might, you know, that's for the $400,000 to do Gavin Park. I'm talking about the other 3 parks. We were waiting for a TI from EKI to tell us the water agency wanted an engineering study as to what was going to happen. I don't know that we received that TI yet, but there's no reason why we can't get the TI and start a process for a grant application to the water agency to do the other 3 parks. It seems like we're going to wait till they do something, then go back again and do this and do this. We should be some proactive now that we have a staff to work on this. I think that we need to, that's in this budget. It was approved by the city council to do it this fiscal year, and it's almost up. And we're no closer to doing anything on those 4 parks. We don't need to save $50,000, $60,000 a year paying Cal Water for potable water to water parks. We don't need to do that. We need to put that in where we can use it in other areas. So if you could make me feel better about that, I really appreciate it. Because now I have a pacemaker and I really have to take care of it. So
I certainly
could
will.
you
I'll
help
work on
me?
it immediately, yes, I
And
will.
if I could be of any assistance to you, I'd be more than happy to be the ramrod, be the first sergeant for you. Not that you need it from me. I'll guarantee
I think
you.
that'd be a great idea. I
Let's
can't
do
think of a better first sergeant, actually.
Let's do it, kiddo.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Anything else you'd like to report, Ms. City Manager? Your new hire? You would like to?
Well, I just did
No.
introduce it at the beginning, so. Another new hire, the other new hire?
Sure, that
Okay.
you're close to getting full staff, right?
Yes, that's right, yes. We did make a conditional offer that's been accepted by Jonathan Wright, who will be coming from Reedsport, Oregon, and he'll be starting on January 13th. Jonathan is actually currently a city manager. He's been there for 7 years in Reedsport, and he has a strong planning background with Douglas County before being a city manager, a Planner 3. And he's also been in the U.S. Army and enjoys being an Eagle Scout, and I'm sure the chief of police was on that panel. He could probably recite some of the other civic involvement better than I can on what Jonathan's background is, but I think he's going to be a great addition to the team, and he's really got a lot of great experience to add, and he'll be taking over the building, planning, and code enforcement and economic development.
Well, if your community development and your public works directors go out camping and fishing, I want to be invited.
Yeah, right there you go. I think Jonathan likes that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Council comments, Vice Mayor.
Yes, thank you. First, I want to say welcome to Mr. Platt. Very happy that you're here. So we're rounding out our team, and I'm excited about 2020 with having a full crew. So welcome. I'm excited about working with you. And happy birthday to our colleague, Mr. Simmons had a birthday.
Well, thank you for that.
Congratulations on one more year. On Saturday, Mr. Hudson and I went out to the cemetery. They had a work day out there. And so we met with Vicki Tudor, who's part of our cemetery commission and part of the Friends for the Preservation of Yuba County History. And so she was showing, I had been out there before. Mr. Hudson maybe hadn't had the tour yet with them. But anyway, so she had the question about whether the $7,000 that we had matched, those matching funds had been spent. She wasn't sure. So we checked that out. They haven't been spent. So they're going to be hoping to put that, hoping to be able to find that money to put towards some projects there. So they were grateful for that, our visit and input, and wanted to say how much they appreciate what their ability to be able to function out there like they are to care for the cemetery. So, what else I wanted to say? I think Mr. Atkinson he commented on this task force event. The Yuba Sutter Community Task Force is hosting an event at the 530 Event Center on December 13th from 6 to 8 in the evening, and it is an event designed to bring community organizations that use volunteers to fulfill their mission. They're going to be there, several from our community, probably about 15 to 20 organizations will be there, and we're trying to attract some other people interested in volunteering in the community to also come, be able to talk with those organizations and hopefully get some people signed up. And so you're invited. I'll bring flyers or email flyers for everybody for that, but if you know anybody who's saying, what can I do in my community? You can say, hey, I know a place where you can go on December 13th. Invite them out there. And I just wanted to comment briefly on our camping ordinance that appreciate the people that were here tonight to talk about that. And I understand that it's going to cause some changes and present some challenges, and want you to know that we recognize that, and that I am confident that there are lots of organizations that we can try to connect everybody with that for housing and different options. So I know that everybody in that arena is interested in the welfare of the people, and so we want to see it turn out well for everyone. So thank you for coming and sharing your concerns. We appreciate that. And so I'm looking forward to the parade. And I was thinking, I don't know if you're going to be back, but I was thinking we could turn your Jeep into a boat or something and have a little float.
Got it. I will be back, and I have a boat that we can pull. So that was Rick's idea.
You're stealing my idea. I didn't even get to present it out tonight.
That was
get us all in that boat together.
That's right. It'll
I'll
seat
take
8
the
people,
overflow.
so you're all good.
You're coming.
I got a boat.
Yeah.
Let's go.
To each their own.
Put 2 boats in.
No, yeah, no. I just quickly. I did go to the cemetery last Saturday with Stephanie and Vicky, and I've been out there several times, and it's awesome history. The volunteers have done a phenomenal job on keeping that place and cleaning it up and doing the master gardening and all that kind of stuff, and they do it on free, basically. So I'm very pleased and happy with them, and if we can help out, with getting the lights fixed, whatever the case is, through the new public works and budget, so we could find some money maybe to help them out with those things, that'd be great. Because of the 17 lights that are out there, I think only half work. Those are things just for security, because we did have some vandals a couple years ago that, did some damage. So that was neat to go out and see that. And yes, I do have a boat. We could put it in the parade, go from there. So don't call me for the next 2 weeks is my last comment. I will be out of the country. You guys have a good time without me.
That'll never happen.
Whatever.
Councilmember Simmons?
Yeah, well, I have a boat too. So we put them side by side and we'll drag race down D Street. 2 jet boats going down
but
D
seriously, make sure you fill out your form if you're going to pull your boat. I think it would be a great idea to pull out the boat, fill out the forms, send it out to Dee Dee and Carrie to make sure that they know what you're doing. And I'll fill it out for you, don't worry.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mine too?
Yes, I can fill that out as well.
No, I had mine in another parade. I don't have much to comment on mine right now, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Mr. Butterwole, sir? Council member?
I just want to say that my idea was to get us all in a boat, pulled behind a truck for the nautical and nice, and I think we should still do that as a council.
We should do that.
I think it was great, our meeting with the Yuba Water Agency. I think we're going to move along, maybe not as quickly as we'd all like, but we definitely are moving along with that. I'm looking forward to the Christmas stuff coming up. I'm interested in the pop-up, the shopping night out. Yeah, that's going to be great. I'm glad to have you aboard. We've been in desperate need. And I want to say I talked to a contractor today. Usually we get all the complaining, I'll put it that way. And I had a contractor tell me today how smoothly his project is gone. And they specifically spoke of Paul and Joe. Joe's our newest inspector, correct? Yeah. So anyway, I know we always get such a bad rap, and I'm usually the one in complaining about it more than anybody because I get so many calls on it. But the ones today, it was Meshers that are putting up a nice project over right by my place, in fact. And they spoke very highly of the help they got from the city. So I was glad to hear that.
Thank you.
Mayor, I have one
Yes, go
follow-up
ahead.
important. The people who are working on this water quality, this master plan for Ellis Lake, I don't know if you're aware of it, but the GSP has all the quality samples taken in the aquifers throughout Yuba County under the GSAs. They've done all the work. It's already there. It tells you how much arsenic's in it, whatever else. I think that should be a document that this ad hoc committee could use to help determine what the water quality is without going through all this other. It's there.
Yeah.
and I'll be more than happy to bring that to you. I'll pull it out, pass it on, because you and I are going to meet anyway.
Okay.
And you can take it to that. And the water agency should know that. 'cause
Absolutely, yeah.
They're the GSA, so next meeting, you might ask that.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? You know, I feel bad, I don't remember the name of the event, but my understanding that this past Saturday, there was a group who highlighted our beautiful Ellis Lake, and they did an event out there, and they put lanterns in the lake, and they put lights on our trees and in our, and I guess it just looked so beautiful. And so I think that's, yes, sir?
Do you want the name?
Yes.
Lotus Moon Lantern Festival.
Lotus Moon Lantern Festival.
Number one.
It was incredible, I heard, and I hope that they continue doing it every year, and I hope it gets bigger and bigger, and we can participate. I would love to participate next year. I wasn't able to do it this year, but it's another example of the value of our lake and how the community can get involved and use the lake in a positive way. Looking forward to, I am pretty, I guess I don't know. I'm very happy of the things that are going on downtown with the pop-up and the windows and I was driving on Sunday in the evening in Marysville, downtown Marysville, D Street, and it looked so beautiful with the arches all lit up and the trees being lit up by our business owners and people leaving their windows lit, and it just looked beautiful. And so now we just need to get people in there. Let's get as many friends, as many family members to come on Friday, come to the parade on Saturday, and for the next Fridays and Saturdays till the holidays, that we can get more people just to kind of enjoy, just to go out there and maybe spend a little bit of money, but just enjoy the beauty of our downtown D Street. And so I'm very proud of the work that staff have put into. I know that Ms. Brown was doing extra work today, hustling with her tennis shoes. Flyers. So it just takes those little things, and I saw pictures of her at the pop-up thing with paper things on her head and
paper thing.
I just thought it was pretty cool, so I appreciate that because it looks really nice. If you haven't seen the pop-up thing that our local, including Stuart and Ruth and other members of the community who got involved and just kind of did it, and it looks great, and they're going to have 3 vendors in there. Let's invite as many people as we can to downtown Marysville during Christmas because it looks beautiful. With that, we have no closed session today, and we'll adjourn to our next special city council December 3rd at 5 p.m.